This is the continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Warner Anderson as Matthew Swain, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, and Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie.
Every day, the 10:05 local crawls down the grade into Peyton Place to pick up freight, passengers, and mail. Today, one of its passengers will be old Eli Carson, a man who may be leaving Peyton Place forever. But neither Eli nor Allison Mackenzie, now on her way to say goodbye to him, know at this moment just how much of his life the old man may be leaving behind him.
Good morning, Mr. Carson.
Well, Allison, you're looking fresh as paint.
Thank you.
Well, how are you today?
Very well, thank you.
That's something for me to remember down in Florida. What pretty young ladies we have here in Peyton Place.
I read in the Clarion you were leaving on the 10:05.
Right, Elliot's just fixing to get me down to the depot.
Aren't you excited? Swapping all our snow for that famous Florida sunshine.
There's nothing very exciting about leaving home, Allison.
I was just telling Dad that there's a lot he can teach those Florida fishermen.
Oh, yeah. Uncle Matt will be waiting to publish a picture of you with your first big fat sailfish.
My first, she says.
I guess you'll be catching thousands of them. Well, I just stopped to say goodbye.
That was nice of you, Allison.
And to wish you a good trip.
I appreciate it, believe me.
Goodbye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye, Alice.
Bye.
Now, there's the thing that I'm going to miss most, the kindness, even from a youngster. She's a lovely young girl.
Yes, very.
Funny how life turns round. First part's all hello. I met your mother and you were born. Then, one day, the goodbyes. Your mother died. You went off to the Navy, then to prison.
Oh, this isn't that kind of a goodbye, Dad. Dr. Rossi says just a few months in Florida and you'll feel great.
Doesn't have to be goodbye, not between us. Come with me, son.
You know I can't, Dad.
Why not? Your parole officer would give you permission. We could sell the chandlery, get a clean start.
I have to stay here.
To beat your head against a stone wall.
To prove I'm not a murderer.
Listen to me, son. Don't waste your life. One day you'll wake up and it'll be gone, wasted, with nothing to leave behind, like me.
Dad, you've been a good man and a good father. That's a lot to leave behind.
A man needs to know that life goes on. Children and grandchildren. It'd be nice to think that some part of me would go on living.
Well, I'm part of you.
And there it ends. Not your fault, Elliot. You tried. Things have been different. All likelihood I'd be a grandfather now.
You are a grandfather.
What do you say?
Allison Mackenzie.
Allison.
Your granddaughter.
No.
It's true, Dad. Maybe I'm wrong telling you, but now that you're leaving, you probably should know you have that right.
Why didn't you tell me before?
I wanted to, but
she's a girl to be proud of.
thanks to Constance.
That time you went to New York.
I followed Connie. Her mother sent her up there to break us up.
Turned out differently, didn't it?
I'm not different enough. See, I planned to divorce Elizabeth, but, well, then.
How does Constance feel about you coming back?
Wary.
You two could still think about getting married, you know.
That's all we ever hoped for years ago. We were so much in love, but Well, a lot happened after that.
The most important thing that happened was Allison.
You think I don't know that? That's another reason why I have to stay in Peyton Place.
To tell her.
To help her. Dad, we better be going.
Son, don't be sorry that you told me. Not ever.
I'm not.
My son and his daughter. My granddaughter. God keep you both.
Oh, and if Lucy Frisbee comes in, here's her book, already wrapped. And put those in the window for me.
Wait, Mother, I know you're in a hurry, but I have to let Paul Hanley know about New York.
Oh, we'll talk about it later.
There's nothing to talk about, really. All I have to do is tell the college you've given your consent. It's only a weekend drama trip to New York.
But New York is...
Every time I mention New York, you go into a sort of tailspin.
I know, it seems that way.
Why do you act as if New York is some sort of chamber of horrors or something?
Look, we'll discuss it tonight when we have more time, hmm?
There is no way to attract customers.
Hello, Uncle Matt. What is it?
Now, the first rule of business, smile, particularly if you're in the window.
I'm sorry. It's my mother.
Well, it's a common complaint of the young. What dire deed has she done now?
She hasn't done anything. For some reason, she's got a thing about New York.
And exactly what is a thing?
Well, every time I mention New York, not just now, but any time I mention it, she gets so
What?
uncomfortable, as though she'd rather not talk about it at all.
Well?
Well, I've often wondered why. I used to think maybe it was because of my father.
What do you mean?
Well, they lived in New York and they were happy there. Maybe talking about it makes her sad or something.
It's possible.
And then I got all dramatic sometimes and wondered if maybe something else happened in New York.
Such as?
Oh, I don't know. Frustrated career. I really don't know. That's what's so unfair.
Unfair?
I have a right to know.
You do not. A trip to New York is one thing, but prying into your mother's affairs is something else again.
Prying? But she's my mother.
And she's also an adult. And she's entitled to some privacy. If your mother wants to tell you something, she will. And if she doesn't want to tell you, she darn well doesn't have to.
But, Uncle Matt...
Allison, if you want to be treated as an adult, you have to think like one and act like one.
I do.
Haven't you ever held something back? Haven't you?
Well, yes, but...
Well, then grant your mother the same privilege. Parents don't exist just for the convenience of their children.
I know that.
Then act as if you did. You say, she is my mother. As though that's the whole reason for being on Earth, just to serve you.
I don't think that at all.
Well, prove it. Grow up, Allison.
Hello, Mother.
Well, hello, dear.
I bought this candy for Daddy. I wish I could take it myself.
I know.
What will you tell him if he wants to know about Rod and me?
I'll tell him you're trying to work things out.
Well, we certainly are in a lawyer's office at 2 o'clock.
Yes, but we don't want your father to know that yet, do we?
No, that would just upset him. You know, it's funny. It should upset me, but it doesn't. Not one little bit.
Are you sure, Betty?
Yes, Mother, I'm sure. I'm very sure. Rodney Harrington can have his glorious freedom, and he can do whatever he wants with it. I've had all I can take of his high and mighty attitude.
I've never heard you speak angrily of Rod before.
You don't think I should feel this way?
I didn't say that. I was just wondering why so suddenly.
Oh, Julie, hello, Betty.
Hello, Dr. Rossi.
Julie, I'm going to be back in the office by 1 o'clock. I'll be here all afternoon, so you can stay at Greenville as long as you like.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Yes, I enjoy working for him.
Well, give my love to Daddy.
Betty,
Yes?
something's bothering you, I can tell.
Well, of course, it isn't every day one signs away a marriage.
A moment ago, you said that didn't bother you in the slightest.
Mother.
And the way you talk about Rodney, you never had quite that attitude before.
Mother, please.
Look, I know it sounds like I'm interfering. Please, Betty, I don't mean to.
It's all right.
The fact is, there's just you and me. Look, when I have troubles, when I'm worried or upset about someone or something, you're the only one I can turn to.
I know that, Mother.
And when you came home from New York, I thought, I won't have to be alone anymore. I don't have to worry all alone. Betty, what's wrong?
Mr. Harrington.
Mr. Harrington?
He hired a detective to find me in New York.
Well, you can't blame him for that. He was concerned about you, Betty. We all were.
The detective showed Mr. Harrington a report, and he showed it to Rod.
Well, I don't understand. A report about what?
About me. In New York, I stayed at Sharon Purcell's apartment. I told you that?
Yes.
Sharon didn't pay the rent, Mother. A man did, a married man. That's in the report, and there's more, a lot more.
Go on.
One night, Sharon got me a date. It wasn't a very nice date. He got angry when he saw I wasn't like Sharon, and he left. Out in the hall, he gave me some money.
Why?
To help me go home. He was being kind. There was an elevator boy who saw him give me the money.
Just what else is in that report, Betty?
I don't know. That's all Rod told me.
Well, surely Rod doesn't believe any of this.
Well, why shouldn't he? It's all there. Mother, I know what really happened that night, just what I told you, but you take the cold facts, put them in black and white, and Mr. Harrington had exactly what he needed.
Disgusting. Disgusting. You should have the report. Show it to his son. Betty, didn't you try to explain to Rod?
No, what for? If he wants to believe it, let him. I don't really care what he believes anymore. I'm not sure if I care what anyone believes.
Does that include me? I've always believed you, Betty. I still do. But that report, that bothers me very much.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Maybe there is.
My name is Wainwright, Mr. Carson. I'd appreciate your help in getting some information.
You're an attorney.
I am.
What kind of information?
It concerns your trial for the murder of Elizabeth Carson. I've studied the transcript. The burden of your defense appears to have been your allegation that on the night of her death, your wife had a visitor, a man.
It was more than an allegation. It was true.
Yet, in your trial, you never succeeded in establishing that point.
If I had, I'd never been convicted.
Mr. Carson, do you have any idea who the man was?
No. Do you?
I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Thank you, Mr. Carson.
Wait. Wait, you can't just walk in here and then walk right out again. You know something.
I am an attorney.
Yes, I know. You said that. Whose lawyer are you?
Martin Peyton's.
Martin Peyton. Well, why do you come to me? What are you doing for Peyton? Catherine Harrington's will? The codicil? Leslie Harrington's trying to have it revoked? Right? Am I right?
Mr. Carson, I'm sorry. I wish I could answer you, but
You did, Mr. Wainwright.
I haven't said anything.
This is true. You haven't said anything, Mr. Wainwright, but you've told me a great deal.
Mr. Carson, I wouldn't jump to any conclusions.
Well, I know all about evidence, Mr. Wainwright. I'm an expert on evidence. I'll look before I leap. You can be sure I'll take a long, hard look.
Excuse me, Mr. Carson.